Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Something just hit me when I was watching this gentleman's video. Remember, we covered the gentleman where his wife was trying to sell his house. This was covered. It all links to it. I see you looking at me. It links to it because we will discuss this after the fact, because he made the statement that his wife can do nothing about his 13A. Well, unfortunately, if you're at a 13A status in the Philippines, which is applied for because you're married to somebody. A lot of guys are married. A lot of people feel that because in the US that rules apply, they will apply here. Well, sad to mention this, and we'll discuss this now, is that if you have the 13A, which is because you're married to a Filipino, because you're Filipino descent, there's many reasons you can get an SR, or I'm sorry, a 13A, sorry. A 13A, but the status is lost mostly for two reasons. And they are, George?
A breakup. Divorce.
Yes. Divorce and no longer being with your spouse, you automatically lose it. In the United States, if me and George got married, he already had his residency and he had all his documents. So marrying me didn't even pertain to the situation. He had lived there for over 26 years, 27 years. And so he would maintain it even though he was divorced. However, in the Philippines, you will lose that status. And that'll leave you to apply for another status. You'll be scrambling for it. A lot of people think that they get to keep their 13A after divorce. You do not, whether you're permanent or not. A lot of people don't know that. Also, something that I wasn't sure of but confirmed yesterday is that if you expire or pass away, if George passes away, because I'm applying for my 13A.
Well, if your partner, your Filipino partner,
passes away, your spouse, it's a 13A,
right,
that visa is no longer valid, even by death in the Philippines of my Filipino spouse. A lot of you guys asked yesterday and a couple of days ago, would I stay in the Philippines? The answer is yes. But at that point, I have to switch my status. At that point, me and George had talked about this before, I would go into an SRRV, which is a special resident retiree visa. And a lot of people have questions. You guys probably will, and we'll answer them to the best of our knowledge because we don't have all the answers, but we've been dealing with people and other businesses that have it. Again, in the description, we have this stuff. But a lot of people, I'm going to tell you right now, they were shocked to hear this. We've discussed this with people, and they're like, really? Yes. A lot of people think it pertains to the U.S., that they get to keep their status and get to stay. A lot of them are refusing to actually do that. Therefore, they are asked, they have to leave the country. So you either go back into a tourist visa mode, okay, which every 36 months, you would at least have to go back. You can keep renewing your visa, but then you'd have to go back to the U.S. or another country to visit and come back in, okay, as long as your status and you're not blacklisted or something else like, oh, geez, like this new guy, possibly could happen. And we'll tell you why later. But the other possibility is SRRV. And then, of course, there are other things that you can actually go for. There are other types of visas, but them are the biggest ones that are being used. Like, I mean, if you want to become a student or, we're not going to say there's not more. But the biggest ones for long-term residents will be the SRRV, you doing the tourist visa, or you'd have to have the 13A. If you're divorced or your spouse passes away, a lot of you didn't think about that. So I would lose my status and have to go into an SRRV, but 13A would no longer be valid. Now, I want to speak upon that when you get an SRRV, I put a link into the retiree website where you'd want to go directly to them. Also, JRC Consultancy does a lot of good work on that. Another channel that has excellent information, it's about the only other one that I recommend, would be Steve Johnson. The channel?
Philippine Info Channel.
Philippine Info Channel. I was just waiting for him to join me on that. And it's a it's a really, really good channel. And so I was just reading some of the comments here. So before you leave the United States, whatever status, most of you guys are coming here to live here long term. The most common mistake is people are not getting their documents apostilled. There is a state level and there is a federal level. Most of it has to be at a federal level. Okay. The ones applying for the SRRB based on their military didn't get there. I believe it's a DD 214, guys. Remind me if I'm wrong on that. For the military status, all these documents need to be apostilled. Now, the SRRB has to be applied for in the Philippines. Most people think they can do it on the outside. That is not one of the visas you can. Now, if you are under 30 days, you have to come with a background check. That needs to be apostilled too. That's usually at the state level. If you guys are here more than 30 days and then you decide to stay and you're here for 4 months, you have to get a background check done here in the Philippines. But understand there is a limitation to getting the NBI check also, guys, because the NBI check's only good for so long also, but they will check your background here, okay? So understand, check the requirements, get with the PRA, and go check out Steve Johnson. You guys can email us, send us messages, and we'll be able to help you on that one. And again, the other one is your tourist visa you can fall back on. A lot of guys live on that, guys. They live on that. And the tourist visa means right now, most commonly we're hearing everywhere, including Cebu here lately, they're only doing a 60-day. I think it was Dumaguete that mentioned it recently. It's a 60-day tourist visa renewal. You'll come in, they'll give you the first 30 days. You got to get your ACRI card and you do all this stuff. And then they used to do a 6-month. And you had a theory on why they don't do the 6 months anymore?
Well, okay, this is my opinion / theory. They don't do the 6 months because on paper they get more credits. Remember, even though it's their government, they still get a score. They get better scores if they have more renewals rather than. What I'm saying is 6 renewals is better than 1 6-month renewal, if that makes any sense. However, be aware that currently, now this may change at any moment. Manila and Subic Bay give 6 months renewal. Manila and Subic Bay that I know of. Anything else?
Right. So when I went in just recently, it was around 3,000 pesos. I'm just going to give you a roundabout because it changes all the time. But remember, every time we go in there, they charge 1,000 pesos for an express. Okay. And it doesn't matter because people have tried to work the system by going around and saying, well, I'll just come back the next day. It's no longer express. That doesn't work. That you're still going to pay the express fee. So if you have to do that 3 times in a row, yes, you're paying an extra $60 to them. So my theory is they're making more money also.
Oh, yeah.
So they're definitely doing it. Now, we will be using, in December, we'll be using JRC that is here in Angel City. He finally opened an office. I'll be doing a full video when I go through that process and my 13A. That process you said was under 14,000, give or take. Okay. But the visa by itself is around 12 and a half, 13. So he's not really charging that much to get a 6-month. Now you do have to bring him the documents and he will help with all the paperwork and they file it in Manila. Let them do the legwork because if not, we would have to book a hotel. We'd have to go to immigration ourselves in Manila and it would just be better to do it that way. Now, the 13A we haven't decided on because that's a little more expensive. It's almost double the price to file that, but that's a lot more complicated to do that. And then he said after the year, we would have to pay the fees all over again to get the actual resident. I'm counting on George to live forever. I will, George will probably outlive me anyway, so I'm not worried about losing the 13A visa, but if not, I'll go into the SRRB. But I know he ain't getting a divorce.
Okay. So
I'm too Christian for that.
Just remember, if you're a 13A holder and your partner croaks, your 30A will automatically go into tourist mode. Okay.
Right.
Now there is a
JRC said that you have to downgrade.
Right.
If they just hold it, let's say you hold on to that. If George passes away or you end up like you're no longer with your partner, I see where he's saying divorce doesn't exist.
Actually, here's the thing. Go ahead.
Right. What it means is that if you don't involve immigration, and I'm gonna let you know this right now, and you think you're just gonna ride it for the rest of the year, you're going to owe all those back fees for not filing and doing a downgrade is what they call it.
Right. Well, also, Ethan says, I was told by a family lawyer up in Manila that since divorce doesn't exist here, if you and your wife ever separated, you'd still return your 13A visa because you're technically still married. However, the thing about that, I get what you're saying. On paper, it doesn't exist. However, if your spouse, out of spite,
Reports it
Reports
to
it,
immigration that you're no longer living in the
then
home.
it will hit.
Yep.
So basically, yes, I understand what you're saying, but so if your partner zips, there's a chance it'll fly along under the radar. But if they report it,
right. I mean, we're not 100% attorneys, and I hear what he's saying, but it's been done before. The status has been lost before.
right? But that's what I said. It does happen where if there's a divorce, sometimes I said sometimes, not all the time, it'll be okay. But when the partner reports it, that's it.
Because when I go to get the 13A, I have to get George's permission.
Correct.
He has to write out a letter and everything else. And if I'm no longer with him and things went south, like in this relationship we're going to talk about
So if I'm
later.
spiteful,
And honestly, the way this guy's carrying on, and he may be watching us because evidently he has, because he mentioned some of the things we mentioned in our previous live about him. His wife is going to have him blacklisted. And the videos that we've seen on Facebook, OMG. So all I'm saying is, you could just get blacklisted for other things too, but more than likely she's going to go and report him, or a Filipino will. Now, George, in this case, let's say we decide we just can't stand each other and we grew apart and all that, and George moved on. I'm a million times secure that George isn't going to go to immigration and report it. But I'm one of those that are going to follow the law to the T like that. I'm going to go in and do it just to make sure that everything's legal. I don't want to pay the extra fees. I don't want to get in trouble. We get that divorce is not legal, but there are reasons that they have granted that. Okay, let's say that there are reasons that they do give the divorce here in the Philippines. They've actually, if you go into the court, there is a way to have it annulled and all these different things.
right?
If any of that status happens, that's when you're going to lose it. And I'm pretty sure here soon, probably within the year would be my guess, it's going to become where people can get a divorce. They're working on that really hard, just like the legal leaf situation.
Well, technically, you're working under a petition of a Filipino citizen.
Mhm.
And if the petitioner decides to, like, you know what, screw this, then you lose your status.
I don't know. But I'm going to need a lot of coffee for this next story.
Right. So again, just be careful. Hey guys, we're in the middle of our live stream right now. Thank you for being with us. Just so you guys know, again, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Watch our videos, comment a lot, and
Hey,
guys,
George, you want to go swimming in my coffee?
there you go.
Here, jump in.
Heidi's jet coffee cup.
Here, no,
Yeah.
I know. Here, you hold it. See how
No,
heavy it is.
no,
Here, hold
no.
it up. Careful, babe. It's heavy, isn't it?
So again,
It's like a kiddie swimming pool of
Right.
coffee. Oh,
to sure Santa support. Again, when your partner is sleeping,
don't you do it.
grab their favorite cologne, and then take the lid off, and then fill it up with garlic juice, and then put it back like nothing happened.
That's the only thing I have left of that
Garlic
Givenchy.
chicken.
Thought you were going to say that was chili oil. That's what I did to yours.
Oh yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. Or Dawn dish soap and a little bit of Bengay mixed together. Now be nice.
That might neutralize it.
I was wondering what you was up to. That was like when we did that legal leaf situation the other day about the illegal plants in that guy's house. He was dressed up like a farmer, and he goes, "You really didn't know what I was doing." I was like, "No, we don't pre-plan these lives,
No,
guys."
they're not scripted. Heidi
No.
usually doesn't know what's going to come out of my mouth, nor do I know what's going to come out of her mouth.
Oh, you know what's coming out of my mouth, that's for sure. Usually. So we wanted you guys to know the statuses. Now, we mentioned about getting the apostille documents before, because a lot of guys are coming here to get married, and they do later. A lot of them say they're not, and they do. And speaking of which, congratulations to Gio. He just got married, and his wife. That's an example of, I bet never in a million years did he expect he was going to get married, and neither did we.
Ball and chain club.
You got that right. And and so in a case like that, you're going to need your documents apostilled. You're going to need to bring prior divorces. Now, you're going to hear from all types that'll say, I didn't need anything when I went in. We just heard somebody recently that hardly needed any documents. I don't know how they did it, but also I wouldn't trust that. Make sure you bring what's on the list. If it says apostilled, and make sure it's at a federal level. Like our marriage certificate is apostilled at a state level with a gold seal. and what they need at a state level. We trusted the courthouse, which is not the place that it's done. They claimed it was, but we listened to them during the pandemic. We do not have an apostille marriage certificate. So now we're trying to get a copy through the, is it the DFA, Department of Foreign Affairs here in the Philippines, that it's registered and everything. We're going to go that route with it. But make sure you have all your documents that are legal, including your background check if you're going for the SRRB, or all these things you will need to take care of. I would make sure that, you know, your driver's license and extra IDs and stuff are up to date. I'd make sure all your ducks were in a row. That is for sure. I don't know what more to add to that. Well, I guess.
Well, this is somewhat, again, literally part of the subject, and it's a segue. Brent's Road says, I don't think foreigners realize how much a power a Filipino citizen can have over them. And we're actually just about to talk about that.
Yes. That is for sure. We'll go in and say our hellos to everybody. Guys, please, sure.
Yeah, California
comment.
Oscar, just to let you know, I can't put that up. Your name, I can't put up your comments because of your name. Sorry, California Oscar.
Yeah, I just seen that you changed that. Unfortunately, we can't put your name up. I agree with him.
Kind of. Our global clan says hello.
And I'll jump further down because it's pertaining to this. Ruby said further down, Filipinas married to foreigners who divorce them overseas will need to register, which is true. Will need to register their divorce in the Philippines embassy to be recognized and recorded with the DFA. Yes, that would need to be done, because that came up in regards to when we were talking about David and Rose Campbell with the situation that's going on. They're saying that he may not give her one, or even if he does, what is she going to do? He's saying he's not. There was all that he said, she said back and forth. And like we said, it would still need to be registered.
Now, in that situation, be aware again. Now, I'm not picking on anybody, but I'm just giving you a what if scenario. Like Heidi says, since they married here in the Philippines and he divorces in the U.S., until he, like Heidi said, files it in the embassy, it doesn't register in the Philippines, which means,
hey, Kiki's in the house.
Yeah,
too.
Which means, let's say out of spite, David decides not to file it ever. That means Rose is married here forever.
Yeah, we were told that technically that if the Filipina, I think if she hires an attorney and they're not divorced and they file that there's some sort, I know there can be some sort of legal separation here in the Philippines. That can also be used against you in the Philippines.
Right, legal separation.
Right. So if she reports you to immigration and says we're no longer together and I'm done with them, and she like takes back what she's signed, then you're still going to lose it. Because I was sitting there reading something else that but remember, that could take years for the legal separation too.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even think that's necessary, because remember, it's a petition, meaning I have to sign for you. I have to be responsible for you.
Well, yes, it's the same in the United States, except for if you're no longer together, it's invalid. If you're a petitioner,
you don't even have to get to the divorce state. That's what I'm getting at. Joseph Rutherford says Filipinos used to welcome ships to
Subic Bay.
Yeah, they do. They did. Yeah.
Thank you so much, California.
Hey, Tim Nichols.
Thank you, Tim Nichols, for becoming a member. Guys, we were saying, and we do appreciate it. We are all stuff that comes in this month for the memberships, our pay that comes in from YouTube, and any stickers or PayPal money is going towards the Christmas items that we already have started to collect. We're collecting candies, candy canes. We just ordered up 20 stockings to fill. We're giving out food baskets, or we're going to be putting them in oversized bags. Hams, rice. We bought large bags of rice. Again, thank you, Ted. You were the main supporter of over 10 bags of rice that'll be handed out. And we'll be giving goodies away the day before Christmas and Christmas. And depending on the amounts, there might even be cash that goes along with that, guys. And we do appreciate it. It is within the neighborhood. And so, we're just locals. We're giving it to locals. So, yeah. Yes, I'm glad that he mentioned that. And I have that. Yes, Ted. Apostille means that the document gets authenticated. And let me get that, because I just had that up here a minute ago.
Right.
I don't know why it does that. Let me get that. and the requirements. So basically, first you have to get any documents that are legal, okay? And the apostille, no. And that's weird because see, look at that. There's a red ribbon.
Well, there's a red ribbon. Yeah, there's a red ribbon and there's a apostille, two different things.
Right. Let me see if you guys can see it.
It's literally a red ribbon.
It's really a red ribbon. See the other one with just the gold seal? That's what we have on our marriage certificate. And they said that was apostilled through the state of Florida. However, they said they needed red ribbon, which it confuses a lot of people because both those documents are apostilled. Somebody said one is at a state level, the other's at a federal. As I'm to understand, we have ours at a state level. I'm assuming they want it at a federal level, which is even weirder because it's a state marriage, but I guess you have to do what they're actually looking for. So that's first off. Then you have to actually get, one second, let me get this in here.
I didn't tell how to do this, but our marriage certificate was from Bush.
You wish. You didn't get it out of a Cracker Jack box like you did your brain last week?
Well, our marriage certificate already expired.
Probably crusty like that popcorn. What do you mean expired?
Gosh, don't say crusty. Anyway.
You would know crusty, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
George's last girlfriend.
Well.
Wife, previous wife, the other 9 wives. George is like the, what is her name? What's the chick with the dark hair?
Which, oh my God. You know, what?
Elizabeth Taylor, Britney Spears. Just marrying everybody.
Oh, well.
1, 2, 3. I got another wife. Look at me.
This may be TMI. I did have an ex-girlfriend that I used to call Krusty.
Oh, anyway. God, no wonder. Okay. So apostilles are an authentic, sealed with signature, and they have like the red ribbon, such as birth certificates, court orders. Everything needs to be done, including if you guys are going for an SRRV, all those documents, everything in your 13A, getting married here. So divorce papers, birth certificates, anything that's a legal document in the U.S. will be. There is a 1961 Hague Convention treaty with only issued apostilles from federal documents to use. These countries are members of the Hague Convention. And yes, the Philippines is one of them. Now, the good news is that if you have them done here, I suggest you get them done there because it's a lot cheaper and a lot easier. They have online places that do it. What I do know is that they used to do the notary part of it at the embassy, which is hard to get into, by the way, the appointments and everything. They stopped that. And if you go to the embassy website, there's a lot of misinformation on there, but you can have them notarized here, but then you're going to have to ship them back to the US just to have them taken care of and have them apostilled. You can either, mostly I would say, send them directly to the State Department. But there are places that help you, but understand it could take you hundreds of US dollars. And that is actually per one. So you would have to do with the Department of Foreign Affairs. So is who actually does them. So, and when I say hundreds, it's because it's the FedEx. Last time we had something FedEx here, it cost $160 to get a credit card here. And so I know we were talking about somebody said $10. It was $10 from their credit card company. No, it can be really expensive if something is FedEx, which is the safest way.
Well, let me rephrase that. You can pay that fee, however, the probability of it getting to you is...
Which it didn't. The person that did not receive their item. So usually it's hard to do it that way. But yes, apostille means it's the red ribbon seal. It's an official seal from the federal government. It's kind of like legalizing your documents. And it has to be in English. So let's say you guys are born in Germany and your stuff is still in German and everything, because it's just not Americans coming over. You have to do that in your country too. It has to be translated.
Yes.
It must be translated.
Yeah, that's in any country. For instance, at our paperwork, when we were from Mexico to the U.S., we had to make sure the documents were in English.
Oh, that's right. On our testing for the
any legal documents that would affect your visa have to be
our
translated.
Medical documents for travel and all that was in Spanish. Yes. We had to. So guys, but the question to be posed to you guys now is, what visa are you guys going to come in on? For this reason of the 13A, and this woman could possibly, again, we're not attorneys, and you guys got to understand that there are attorneys that study a broad range of things here. Okay, so we've seen him tell the same person from 3 different attorneys 3 different things. Hence this guy that was told by several attorneys that he wasn't going to lose his house. Well, she already sold that house. I'm gonna let you know right now, but we'll get more into that. But they're going to tell you different. We're going to, you guys are going to hear most definitely different things when it comes to from attorneys, but they do that in the U.S. too. If you think about it, different things are told to you by attorneys. But all I know is that make sure you have the apostille documents. You can lose your 13A if the wife
or husband,
and it depends on the area too. Not all the immigration offices will even list. I've seen it on Facebook. It's a vlogger. It's nobody that you guys really know.
Yeah, he's a vlogger with what we call a hollow brick house.
Yeah, we're not going to mention his house.
Yeah, we're not going to mention his name, rather. Yeah,
we're not going to mention his house. We're not going to mention his
name.
Well,
yeah, no,
hello.
He has a hollow block house. He allegedly spent. I say allegedly because this house, according to him, was $20,000.
He just did an interview with somebody.
Now, just to clarify, for those of you why I doubt the numbers, first off, I know the pricing. 2, at $20,000, somebody built a house at $22,000, the same stature, not unfinished. It was basically a 2-story, 2-bathroom, 3-bedroom house. 2-story at $22,000.
Unfinished.
Now it's unfinished. Now it has roof and it has the walls and everything. This is the similar structure that he has, except it looked like to me a 1-bedroom hollow block house. And I'm like,
he said it was 1 million pesos, and he went on to Facebook to blast his wife after she put it on the Dumaguete. And I'll just tell you where it is. It's the Dumaguete expat group on Facebook. And she put it on there, and allegedly she was trying to sell it. And we were discussing this like 2 days ago. And you guys are like, oh, why we're not giving her name? Because the way the guy acts, he'll be the first to come through and say, hey, they mentioned my name on YouTube. It's just the type of personality he has.
Not only that, we really don't want to expose her because he's done enough of that.
He's done enough damage. So the guy, put it on there and says, hey, the house isn't for sale. She said, yes, it is. So he's been living in Thailand for a while. He has left her. He went through on another channel like 2 days ago, a day after we did, and talked to somebody. So he probably seen our stuff, and other channels have started to talk about him. And he tried to explain himself. So he went into this, he said, she said. You guys know how that goes. He said, that, although I was an alcoholic and I was drinking years ago, and he went into this alleged stuff, he said that she was using illicit, drugs. And it was this blame back and forth. She changed. She owed everybody in town. She, I had motorcycles. She was supposed to be making double payments. And it went back and forth, back and forth. She didn't pay it. The bike got repoed, and she owed the church money. And all these guys have been calling looking for money. And he's claiming 15,000, 10,000, 20,000 pesos at a time that he's been, that she's owed this money all over town. He's blasting her on this channel that he gave an interview to. And he's going on and on and on how she can't sell this land or she can't sell the house. Okay. And so then the person asked her, hey, you can't own that land. You know that, right? And that's what we said. And what did we say? We said that her family owned the land. And sure enough,
house.
And it is. It's her family.
However, to add to insult to injury, rather, who has the permit, whose name is on the permits and the receipts?
That's the other thing. She has all the receipts and the permits to build the house. Allegedly, she does. We're going to say allegedly because she said she did.
No, allegedly.
Yeah. So what tripped me out is I went to Facebook, and the guy signed up on her Facebook, and I'm just going to put you out there, that his video came up. And when we went in there, guys, again, you guys can message us or email us. We'll send you those links. It's crazy. He actually put a video out, scorched earth. He showed OMG. Now, I'm going to let you know, for that video, he can be blacklisted. He put a photo of her in front of a camera showing that she was cheating, but showed her nude. Let's just put it that way, doing lewd acts. But he put that on his Facebook.
Well,
and
now the video is somewhat censored, but you can tell what's going on.
Right.
And
it's a private video, so he put all of her private business out there. He showed all of her emails, what she said. He called her I'm just going to put it out there. We're just repeating what was said. He called her a drug addict. He showed her laying on the ground, passed out, showed her passed out in her bed. So you can't do that to a Filipino.
Yeah, whether it's true or not.
Correct.
You cannot do that. Well, honestly, you really shouldn't do that to anybody, whether it's true or not.
Yes.
Now, the problem we have there, again, not we, it's actually the problem he has there, because we don't have a problem. He does. The problem he has over there is if she says, hey, remember, he's in Thailand right now. Hey, this guy, look at what he posted. Honestly, it's so bad, I can't watch it. I had to like give the phone back to Heidi.
He did.
I can't watch this. It's that bad. It's really raunchy, and it's degrading. It's humiliating. It's, again, I'm not going on this side of the Filipino here. Like I said, it doesn't matter who it is, whether in US, UK, Australia, or Africa, it doesn't matter. You don't do that to somebody. You don't blast them and show lewd videos of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, all she has to do is go to immigration and say, hey, look at what this expat did to me. Watch.
Looks like he's removed it since last night.
That could have him blacklisted. Period.
I'm sure she's already recorded it.
Yeah, so that's the problem. It's, again, regardless whether it's true or not, you cannot behave that way in any country. You can't do that to anybody in any country. And again, if you do that here in the Philippines, if you're Filipino or Filipina, you did that to them, they have every right to blacklist you. And again, it was so bad that, honestly, again, if immigration looks at it like, oh, you're blacklisted, I'm be like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? No, it was bad, guys. It was really bad.
No.
I couldn't even finish the video. It was horrible. Like,
yeah, it showed afterwards.
Yeah.
It shows
And then-
here that he blocked it, that he blocked her, and so yeah, that we don't actually
it
have
doesn't
anymore.
even stop there. According to other sources, he sent basically undressed photos of her to his friends and everything. So
Allegedly.
basically just seeded this stuff.
No, he definitely removed it. So,
Right.
but both of us seen it yesterday.
No.
But she probably already recorded it, so it's kind of a lesson, guys. Don't do that, even if it's scorched earth. I get it, but in the end, she would end up,
Yeah, you just don't do that.
winning.
You just do that.
But so this guy's house did get sold. He did say on the video that he did. Okay, that she did sell it, but she sold it to somebody, which again, the family owns the land in payments. Probably another Filipino, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
And so he's saying that she can use that to pay her self-support or whatever. And he went on to say that he spoke to a lot of attorneys, and he's saying he still had rights. He still had rights. She said all the stuff was in her name. It's family land. Land trumps the house. He would lose it anyways. But then he went on to say that, hey, those new owners, I'm going to go and report him, is what he said. He said he's going to report that the structure was not to code, okay, and that he watched the roof sway back and forth, and that the whole structure can come down at any minute, allegedly $20,000 or 1 million pesos. So the guy just went on and on and on, and this other video is still live, that he's going on about what he's going to do. And
now there's two problems with this statement. Now, keep in mind, it's his statement, not ours. We didn't make this up. It's his words. Problem number one. He's reporting something to somebody that is completely innocent. I mean, if I'm the buyer of the house, what did I do to him to deserve that? You know what I'm saying? So he's affecting an innocent person. Two. Wait, hold up. You're reporting something that's not in code that you built?
allegedly that you own.
Right, that you allegedly paid for and had built and everything else, and at 20,000. That's where, again, now 20,000 again, I just gave you a good benchmark again. 22,000 would be a 2-story unfinished home, okay? Hollow block house, 2-story, 2-bathroom, 3-bedroom house, okay? Versus his 20,000, probably a 1-bedroom. For me, it looks like a 1-bedroom with a living room house. Okay,
No,
so
it's still up.
if it's at, okay, it's still up. If it's at 20,000, Two, why is it unfinished somewhat? Because there's loggers out there that have posted their houses are already finished at less than that, and I don't disagree with them because I know how it's built, and I'm like, okay, well, it's this amount, but when a hurricane came, it did rip apart, and yeah, it makes sense, but it looks Western. His house looks like a hollow block house. Now, my problem is not so much the forget what it looks like. 20,000 hollow hollow block house, and you're telling me that's gonna fall apart? You know what I'm saying? So what are you telling me? The house doesn't have rebars on it? They just literally put
Yeah.
hollow
So,
blocks on top and no rebars or anything?
yeah. So he did.
So that's again two problems. He's reporting something to somebody that didn't do anything wrong to him, and two, he claims he paid 20,000 on a house that's gonna fall apart.
And I'm sure she already recorded this because it's pretty wicked. It's pretty wicked.
No, I can't even. No, I can't stomach that video. It's a bad video. He really
So yes,
blasted
to
her.
our yeah. So we have it, and we also have the links to his.
And
Oh,
again,
sorry, I need something else with that.
again, doesn't matter whether it's true or not. You can't do that to anybody.
And especially here in the Philippines.
And these are personal videos, meaning these are things.
If I did that to George, they would blacklist me and I'd be thrown out of here.
Oh,
I
oh,
promise
yeah, no
you, if
doubt.
I did this
No
video
doubt.
that I'm staring at right now, which I get it's dramatics and stuff, but it's hence the reason that he's saying that he's going to keep his 13A status. Not with
No.
this video, he's not.
Well, he could if she lets it slide. It's really up to the ball is in her court.
That or hope nobody else reported it.
The ball is on her court, meaning
Right. Well, you can't show video of a Filipina in any compromising way, and he already did it. So anybody can report this. If they took this video in,
No,
he
I
would
said-
be in trouble.
like I said,
That's all we're saying.
personal videos and personal photos are just that personal. You're not supposed to blast them on the internet.
And it sounds like they were together for over 7 years, and they were together for 7 years, a few years before that. But the guy was just, it's almost the opposite this time. We get their mind. It's like I said, a back and forth that he said, she said. We don't have either side. And yeah, it sounds like I'm roasting him. We get that he's saying that she did, but he also admitted to his own faults. You know, drinking in the beginning of the relationship, you know, all
There's
this stuff. He
substance-
was traveling a lot.
There's
a lot
substance
of
abuse
stuff,
on both
guys.
parties.
Yeah, so it just, you know, it's something to actually look out for. Understand the housing situation, which is you can't own land. There's only
Land
specific
trumps
reasons.
house, no matter
And a
what.
lot of these guys, I'm going to say a lot of them successfully own houses with their wives, and they do it the right way. Commercial realty, they make sure they lease the land for 100 years, build, and then the house itself is done through a legal way where it's left to the wife or he can't be taken off of it. Don't build it on a family plot of land because it was cheaper, guys. And that's exactly what he ended up doing.
Right, and that's where container houses go into play, meaning if you can afford a container house, what I'm saying is if you have doubts that there's something wrong in the relationship somehow, if you own a container house and it's in your name, it better be on your name, then you can literally have that house removed from the property and move it somewhere else. However, if it's stuck on the land, there's nothing you can do. In fact, he skirted around the house issue. Two things. Again, remember, according to her, allegedly, she has all the receipts.
She sold it already.
Right,
so
she sold it already.
evidently-
Right, but let's say even if she didn't. Again, in the interview, you can tell he's skirting around certain issues. The house is one of them. He says, "Oh, the house is mine. I paid for it." Again, I understand you paid for it, but the receipts are. Personally, I have never heard of this guy until this issue, but
He came into our feed on Facebook.
yeah, but
He looks like he signed up. And unfortunately, when you put through the Dumageddon expat group, which we're on also, you know, don't buy this house from my wife. She's this, and that. It's made several YouTube channels. So we're not the only one. We never claimed that we are not going to cover something in commentary, some sort of drama going on or whatever's going on. It definitely pertained to, you can lose your visas for certain reasons. And you can also be banned from the country. And this guy is cruising. He's probably just going to stay in Thailand anyways, to be honest.
yeah, he's cruising for a bruising.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Depending on her family, oh yeah, depending on your partner's family, if you did them wrong that way, this is what could get you ex-nayed, if that makes any sense. No,
Oh,
really.
that was
True story.
there was things said about that too. So
True story. This can get you ex-nayed. What he did, again, personal videos and photos of her. This can get you ex-nayed. Filipinos are very, very, again, docile creatures, as it were. But you do that, oh my gosh, you're asking for, again, 6 feet under. Not joking. Not joking. The family, I don't know her family side, how many guys there are, but if there's, let's say he has like 5 brothers, oh man, they better not see that guy. You know what I'm saying? Black Grandpa, shout out to all the veterans of Canada and USA who served these 2 great nations who paid the ultimate price. I salute you. Again, thanks so much, veterans. Mike Ross says, Mike Ross is saying those are the ones you need to stay away from, Joseph. Mike Ross is talking about the ones that wait for you when you get off the ship. Which, yes, I agree.
I'm not sure either.
Global CHC says, why do some websites indicate that there's still a visa for folks at least? Oh, right. The 35-year-olds. And
They will, yeah, it's not. It's 50.
Yeah, as opposed to 50-year-old. That's the age of flying. No.
Because you have to look at the top. When you go in and put in an SRRV, it's not the PRA that gives you the first information. There's other people that do blogs, and there's other websites that are outdated. They don't update. Just like I went into one of our videos recently, it was pre-pandemic. So a lot of us don't get the time to go in and update these items, and the websites don't get updated. I've even seen, I believe, I want to say it was Singapore recently on their embassy for the Philippines. It was still showing 35 for that visa. So some of them just don't update. It would be normal, but it is 50. So
yeah, Michael says.
But there is an investor SRRV. I got something here. 1 second here. I can tell you something.
Michael says first 29-day extension actually called for a visa waiver. Next extension can be longer.
The SRRV, they have the different ones, and I did put that here. It actually was still showing on one website that it's 35, but it's actually 50. They have the SRV Classic, the Courtesy Expanded, which is, I believe it's the one that is for the military, but they have an SRRV Investor, and I don't know, that used to exist. I don't know if that changes the qualification of the age, but it says 50. So
yeah, no, okay.
There is an investor one also, but you have to invest at least 75,000. That's, the last whether this is updated or not, you guys have to check when you go to apply, because the Philippines, it changes constantly.
It does.
During the pandemic, on a bi-weekly basis, we were getting different information updated from the government.
Day, actually.
You're right. It was daily.
We checked every day, and it would change.
Different depending on what country you come from, too. Non-visa nationals, and kind of goes. Visa upon arrival on their website is showing 30 days. So I guess you can apply for a 9A in advance, and they'll give you 60. Visa upon arrival is what I thought, 30 days. The other one is 60.
Yeah.
So they never did change the default over to 60. Okay, so then what I was saying initially was right. It says right here on their website, the visa upon arrival that you take in is 30 days. Right. And then if you apply and go through that, which I believe you can do overseas or at the embassy, whether it's in New York or whatever your Philippine embassy is or whatever, you go in, you can get a 9A. It says 60 days. And then extensions here, like I said, it just goes from there. You can get your first initial one online, but when I went to go try to get one, they claimed they were going to start allowing all extensions online. It's not true.
It wasn't working.
It still isn't working. And so, yeah.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, man.